Madam Chairwoman, can you enable the chamber audio, please?
What was that person? I've worked with some of those. Well,
Okay, we'll get started. Couple minutes after 1. And our first item on committee of the whole is districting update. And clerk will be passing out the maps. And this was requested by Supervisor Bush. Thank you for doing that. We got something else that we'll impact you later on as far as the census goes, not this, but.
900 people that are in Farmfield?
Yeah. So it's got to be- And I would just ask that you leave the bags alone until. Jerry. So the board is supervising.
That was for Dan.
Yeah, it's done.
Huh? Thank you.
Yeah, it's done.
Should I take it back home to him? I know. What's that? I'll volunteer to eat for you.
Okay. Yep. All right, and we have Eileen is here from Senator Levin's office to answer the questions, or we can start us out on this. Thank you, Chairwoman.
So as you're all probably read.
Let's.
I'm gonna call in front of the mic so that Dan can read it at home.
You get front stage.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea.
So as you're all probably well aware by now, the new redistricting took place this past week. It was Monday that they came out with congressional lines first, and then followed by the Senate and the Assembly lines afterward. So I don't know if you've seen the maps. They are a little confusing, but
Oh, no.
to say
Very easy to understand.
in 2023, Senator Gallivan will no longer be represented in Wyoming.
Split.
We're not split, yes. I think there was some rumor last week that possibly, yeah, there would be, I think the Assembly, I can't speak for the Assembly, I just looked at that map quickly, but I think the town of Perry may be, okay.
Yeah, he's the only, Perry's the only town we lost in Wyoming County. We
Okay,
kept our district for the most part, lost the Indian reservation in Gowanda and some serious tract and block area of Orchard Park we gained.
okay,
So it pretty much stayed.
yeah, yeah. So I made it a little easier, and I just basically, if the current senators are who I moved on the map right now, obviously, this is not firm. We don't even know if all of these senators, we can assume that most of these senators will be running. But as you can see, PG is where Senator Gallivan's district is. I think we're going from 58 municipalities down to 16. So it's a much smaller district in terms of geographically, but we are gaining about 30,000 in population. I think it brings us up to, I think, 323,000 when it brings us up to.
That's not a major code, is it? Being a Senate, I don't know, excuse me, I'm assuming.
That's why they draw district lines. It's the same concept, but they draw district lines so there's one man, one vote.
Yeah, basically, like, on the federal level, it's one person, one vote for the Senate,
That's why the districts are drawn the way they are, so they're there.
So that ends up going down the same numbers.
So I guess, yeah, anybody have any questions? Now that we're all kind of just.
These folks
shocked a
are
bit.
all up for election in this fall.
Yes, yes. So for example, I think your endorsement meeting is coming up this week. Then I would imagine that you'll be interviewing Senator Morella. But that maintains, we are still in there until December 31st. So nothing changes as far as that goes. And I think Ellen was just, we may have a challenge to the Senate lines. Right. There's currently a lawsuit to the congressional, but yeah, Ellen may have more to share on that later. Right.
I was on a conference or Zoom call, and the state Republican Party is looking at amending the challenge to the congressional districts and include the state senate.
So that's breaking news.
Yeah, and that's all on the same basis. Not following the state.
Right, right. So the senator was saying yesterday on a call that, of all the lawsuits that have been filed over the years for redistricting, he's not aware of any that have actually held up in court, but.
Right.
So, any questions?
Are you gonna work for Grill?
Actually, I'm still going to live in Senator Gallivan's new district. So the answer is no. All right. Let me know if you have any, I'm a phone call away if anything comes up. You want clarification.
I would just like to hear what I told Eileen earlier. I said, I got over my snip change this weekend because I thought I still want him, Senator Galvin, to be my representative. And I realized he still will be my representative because whether he's supporting something and the people in Chickawaga and Amherst and Lancaster, whatever, he's going to be, because what he's fighting for is his conscience. He's been fighting all along for the things that we believe in. So he's still going to be the hard voice in all of us. He's just going to have another one as well.
It's very well stated, softens it a little bit.
Yeah. I told Ellen this morning, Pat's wife texted me, she's still in disbelief as well, and she said in her vision, people of Wyoming, we love the people of Wyoming County as much as they love Pat. So, like I said, it's tough. It is tough. We'll always be here for you.
And maybe we'll win.
Yes.
Are there any other questions? This is a tough year, starting out a year, tough year. Then, the other item on the agenda is 10 reasons why local taxes should stay local. There are good talking points to the community. And in conclusion, for number 10, about keeping local taxes local, it is truly the best way to ensure accountability and transparency. I know transparency is a big buzzword among the state politicians. It does provide transparency to the taxpayer and the taxpayer. And has everyone had a chance to look at the governor's budget to see what's in it? I think we talked about it a little bit in the committees. I don't know if there's any discussion that we want to have on budget. We'll be taking that up at NISAC too.
It seems like it's a lot of the same stuff that I mean, besides, you know, the one-offs, it seems like we always try to get past and then it doesn't happen, so I've learned not to even get excited,
So we're not sure.
because half the times it doesn't.
Something that's not on the agenda, I'll just add, that Haynes sent a letter, it just came out. We just received it today, to the Wyoming County Community Health System community. And I'll just read it, it's not that long. We are ready to express our sincere condolences to the Wyoming County Community Health System, the Board of Managers, and the entire Wyoming community following the tragic passing of Joe McTurnan. Joe was a highly respected leader who truly believed in his team and the work he was doing on behalf of the community. We worked closely with Joe shortly after he became CEO, and he visited the Haynes office and for our CEO orientation. Joe quickly became an active and valued member of the Board of Healthcare Association of Western and Central New York, which is an affiliate of the Regional Association of the Healthcare Association of New York State in Haynes. Joe made a number of meaningful contributions to the hospital and health field during his time and was instrumental in improving healthcare access and quality for the rural community as a whole. As a healthcare association, we hear the great work and success stories of our members, and Joe was someone whose daily mission was focused on transforming people's lives and helping others. Please know that the thoughts and prayers of the entire Haynes team are with you. In recognition of Joe's impact on the health system in your community, Haynes will be making a charitable donation to the foundation currently being created in honor of Joe. Please let us know if there is anything we can do to further assist you. Again, our deepest sympathy to the entire Wyoming County Community Health System during this sorrowful time. And it's signed by Marie B. Gross, RN, and JD, President of the Healthcare Association of New York State, and Ken Schultz, Vice President of the association. And since we have a short agenda, I don't know, is there anything that anyone would like to discuss?
Madam Chairwoman, I have something I'd like to bring up regarding Joe. I'm disappointed in the way I found out about Joe's passing. I mean, how I found out was I received a text from my daughter who works in the DA's office. So she knew before I knew. And I was caught off guard. I'm like, what are you talking about? And so she's like, uh-oh, you know, so I know how she found out. And I don't know how the other supervisors feel, but I feel like we should have been told first. Because, I mean, and then I had to go to a manager's meeting and hear about it that way as well, about Joe.
I'm sure it would have happened, unfortunately, the circumstances were that it was at a department head meeting, and I was called out of the department head meeting, and it was very evident that something was terribly, terribly wrong. And when I came back in, I stayed out for as long as I possibly could. And when I came back in, I felt that I had to tell the department heads to ask them that. But it was just very visible that, and more boots and all the living. It's a call. I would have rather they had learned about it. I'm more private study myself. That's how we do it.
Sometimes things do happen, I understand, but just, maybe like going forward, just something to think about.
Hopefully it'll not happen.
Information. Yeah, but
But
just any other information too, it
it was,
makes
very-
us look like we don't know what's going on.
it was just very unfortunate and timing, that's just the way it was.
One thing that I think might help is if we have something similar to that, something urgent, dire. If a group text is sent out to check your email, you don't have to give us the information in the group text, but check your email is helpful because Janice and I share the same type of email. Some days I can't even get on my email because it's buffering the whole time and I lose patience. But, so I might be checking it at 6 o'clock in the morning. I might be checking it at 10 o'clock at night, depending on how things work. But I know in the past, if Cheryl sent out an email or a text saying, hey, check your email, then I make sure I get on it as quickly as I can. And that's helpful. And I realize that it's not always possible, but I think that's better for those of us that are not sitting in front of the computer or near the computer. It's just helpful to know that.
And I think I also have to apologize for that. I felt it was my responsibility to let you guys know. And I got back here as quickly as I could under the circumstances to do that email.
But again, Becky, and I understand and appreciate that. But I just that day I happened to be working and had my email open. So I may have not been, and I'm just speaking for myself. Other people may be on it more than I am. I try to check it daily. But again, it may be at 6 o'clock in the morning, it may be at 10 o'clock at night, depending on how things go. Just if it's, important information.
And again, I fully understand because I would have much rather.
Well,
Yeah,
would have been better if we didn't have to have that news, so.
absolutely, absolutely.
We've been able to notify in the past, we've had some supervisors pass, their dad, so we get that notification personally to our phones at that time.
Right.
I think most of that came from Cheryl.
And I did try to make phone calls. personal
Connection
phone calls,
to blast.
But 16, I know the news gets out before you get to the 16th.
Well, the text would have been, everybody gets the same text, go check your email or go, whatever.
I actually thought the text went out to check it in the stuff.
Mm-mm.
Well, the email I did, but I thought after I did the email was
The email that you asked me to put out.
yes.
That is very helpful when you get the text.
Okay.
It's-
I did
I
not.
know I'm not a computer person either, but yeah, that's the way of the world. You gotta deal with the phones and the emails. Thank you for listening. I wanted to bring that up. Just in the future.
I think things worked as fast as we possibly do to get down the hospital side to get them together. Which I wanted to be at that hospital meeting too, but I was up here to do the county side. It'd be nice to be in 3 or 4 places. Anything else?
Madam Chairwoman, one other thing. I don't know if it's possible, but according to one of our employees, ex-employees, we all knew what happened over to the missing money. I haven't heard anything spoken with our connection with the county. What was her name? Artcroft or
Kelly Ashcraft at the chamber.
over? And I hear nothing of it except on the news. So when people ask us, because they feel that we are directly connected to them, I have to throw my hands in the air and nicely say, you are the same thing. Is there any information that could have been provided to us prior?
I know there was an ongoing investigation, and until that investigation was done, they did not know the details and for the police to conduct their business. as far as the Wyoming County Chamber, it's got Wyoming County name on it.
Yes.
We contribute in our budget to the tourism side of that, not to the chamber. That was the part that was involved.
It's not one of our plans.
It's
Not one of ours, okay.
not-
It's just when they probably associate the Wyoming County with it, you know, so they all think that we know about it. And I'm like, I really don't know. I can't answer the question because I really don't have an answer.
And it'd be similar to something like that happened with the Arts Council. It's the Arts
Yeah.
Council of Wyoming County, but it's not ours.
And I clearly understand that they can't reveal any information while they have their investigation. I get that point.
But we also give them a substantial amount of money from the tourism side.
Yeah.
We should have had a little bit more. I understand there's, we can't have the down and dirty details, but we should have had some sort of blanket statement that we gave. I think some understanding, and if you've been here a while, there's two different pots of money that they work out of. They have their membership money, which I believe is where the funds were taken from. And then there's the tourism part that Eric runs and that we contribute to, that I believe, from what I know, they were not involved in the monies because it doesn't go to
I couldn't.
Kelly's opportunity at that point, but she's also very savvy, so I wouldn't,
All I can tell you is what I heard on the news.
right?
In hindsight, similar things have happened with similar organizations
It usually does.
that were unknown. And not organizations that have anything to do with it.
What's the total budget for the chamber of tourism?
Oh,
You know, Jan?
yes, what is it? The matching grant.
That we give
No,
them or the
what's
total?
their budget?
Oh, I don't know that off, and I got their last.
400,000.
I'll have to get that to see what
I
the.
got it in my office, I could go grab it if you want, their last audit, but
Somebody has 3 employees and somebody walked out over 100 grand, budget's 400,000, that's 25%. Why out the door?
I was thinking about that too, because I was thinking, which one was it? And honestly,
Well, and there's a treasurer too on their board that
yeah,
should have had some.
I feel like, yeah, you would hope that you would notice that over a period of 3 years or 4 years, I don't know the specific details, I don't know, over a period of 3 or 4 years. But when I think about the budget, in our budget, when COVID hit, 2020 was a wacko year. I mean, things just weren't right in finances. There are things that normally you would get, you weren't getting, and things, so there could have been some sort of like, well, if you compared it this year to this year, maybe, I don't know if they were offering some sort of, I mean, I can only guess, but, maybe they're offering some sort of, like, you don't have to pay your dues this year. I have no idea. I mean, maybe people didn't pay their dues for a couple of years because they're like, okay, we're not even operating because of COVID. So I can see where maybe, but I don't know the finances enough to know what they were doing. So, I mean, like I said, we don't deal with them directly, not the chamber. I mean, with the chamber.
They are audited every single year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who does the audit?
I believe it's Friedman or Friedman.
We're endorsing for them.
No longer.
No longer in service.
They're no longer doing municipal audits.
Dan, again, how many years was this over?
3 to 8%.
They're saying one thing, but investigations are not.
And again, I understand.
It's probably say 2019.
Again, it might have been going on for a number of years.
Well, I think it increased in the last 6 months or a year where she became a little bit more bold. Kelly was the president of an organization that I'm part of, and I caught her with $10,000 of our money that miraculously reappeared in about 2 days. And we were made whole. Not saying that it's the chamber's money. I'm not saying that's what made us whole, but miraculously after she found it in bags and in closets and made us whole. But again, that's why I was always a little cautious because of rumors that I'd heard before, but it does make me wonder how the chamber let it go for that long without, if you have a treasurer on your board and you have oversight, how she was able to get that large sum of money. I mean,
Let me step in here. This is Dan Lohr. I would caution the board because you're in a public meeting and these are alleged offenses at this point. And so we shouldn't necessarily speculate until all of the facts come out. And if there are other circumstances that could potentially taint the public, we ought to be very careful about what we say in a normal, regular session.
Thank you, Dan, I was just going to mention that.
I know that it was reported in the news that the incidents occurred over a course of several years, starting in 2018. So that was what was reported in the news. But, Scott, in all fairness, when he discovered the irregularities in the finances, immediately went to the executive board of the chamber and then subsequently went to the full board to disclose. And that's when they engaged the treasurer to perform their forensic audit. So I think, all the facts will come out once, this moves through the criminal and courts process, and then it can come to some resolution.
Thank you, Dan. She was terminated immediately to listen to Scott.
I was just hoping for some guidance or, so that when somebody was to ask you, well, the answer is, remember that they're not, just because it's the Wyoming County, they aren't associated with us. It's basically the answer that I'm basically looking for. So when I get answered, it's really not us. Yes, we do fund them, but we portion of it, but we don't. So if I understand it right, we portion fund some of it.
The tourism.
We don't fund the whole thing. And it's not really the county, it's just a county name that it is.
I have found that it's always, the simpler you can keep it, the better.
Yeah.
For people to understand as well. And, just the fact that it's not a county employee.
Right, the chamber is a contract agency, just like any of the others that we support.
Just like a cooperative extension.
Fair.
all of them.
We had a similar discussion about this when it's on over TNT also.
Correct.
Yeah, we all didn't know what was going on.
And it was a county.
Yeah. I don't know what the answer is, but yeah, I go through that, we get hammered all the time about stuff. And, a lot of times we don't know about it. It's not, say everybody's fault, it's just a small town, small community, things go at whatever pace around here. I hear things about the hospital that we never discussed at hospital board meeting, but it turned out a month later they're true, or there's some facts to it, and I say constantly. I don't know, I'm not there every day. But I agree, it's a problem, but I don't know how you're gonna fix that problem about the communication, because all what happened with you, with Lynn, your daughter found out from the DA's office, he was there when they got the call, and I got the word, and it came right back. So
I think my point would be that whether it's county employee, non-county employee, something happening in the county that's significant, I would appreciate a little guidance from the leaders, how we should respond, what's going on, what is going on so we can respond appropriately to people that are asking us the questions. Do we not know what's going on? Do we know, or we can't comment? Agreed. I don't want to put a bunch of stuff out there. I just want to know how to respond. And respond appropriately to people that are asking these questions and not start rumors. I mean, that's really the bottom line, how I feel about it. I don't know how anybody else feels, but I'm hearing a little bit of this and that, so.
Yeah, I've got one thing. Resolution 52, and I should have caught it during finance, but I didn't. So that's the question then. To do with the contract with the attorneys for the hospital.
Yes.
I see that it's increased from 10,000 a month to 5,000 a month to $10,000. Number 52. Back on the agenda.
Did do that a while ago. It was mentioned that it was gonna go a while ago, that it was a low amount to begin with. And just mentioned it.
I thought we discussed it here once with Joe. I would say several months ago.
So if you guys look at this, what's being amended is the effective date. If they're not, what you're reading up above here is what was passed 21-43 in May of 2021. That was what increased it. Now, it's all that resolution 21-243 is hereby amended to extend the contract for an additional 1 year effective through. So that it has not increased the contract.
Oh, it's just the term, just the date.
So it's been done.
Yeah. Yes.
Over here.
That's a lot of money.
All right.
Yeah, it is. Whatever.
You keep the lawyer.
Discuss about. That's one. Meeting ago also about county administrator. Anyone thought more about that or?
That's what?
Hire a county administrator.
I think what we
A few of us spoke up, thought it'd be a good idea.
It was kind of before Joe's passing, trying to,
Yeah,
got a lot on our plate right now for the immediate future. So yeah, I agree with you. We need to start discussing that.
we decide, who would be on the task force, actually form a search task force. And well, actually to, task force to see what it is that we are really. The different responsibilities. And I think part of that, it would be helpful to meet with some people like Jay, Giselle, and a few other people that are out there that might be able to give us some insight that, you know, what they did in their communities and, you know, what could parlay over into Wyoming County responsibilities now. I don't know if, you know, something that, take him for example, stuff that he did may not all be things we want to transfer over as a responsibility, especially starting up a whole new department, like a certain one. Use certain tasks and certain responsibilities, and then as they get more comfortable.
Yeah, with Jay, we work with the legislature and not a board of supervisors, so there's a little disconnect there. Ian Coyle is
He's
one of
offered,
those
he's
to
offered
help.
many times.
Jay would be a good one to pick his brain. I've talked to him about it before. And, you know, he's more than willing, now that he's no longer the temporary chair of Genesee Finger Lakes Regional Planning Council. So he has some time now, but
And the other, many of us, I think, are gonna go to NICEAG too, so that's a great opportunity. In the other counties.
another one that I know of, Nick Rowe. Senator County, it's pretty good. So there's some people out there that could
This will, I'm assuming, also include financial aspects of it as well, the cost. We've spent a lot of money here in the last couple of months. A lot,
When you hire an administrator, it won't be just the administrator.
exactly,
From system,
an office and et cetera.
an office.
Staff, secretary.
I just, again, that needs to be a big part of it for me.
Well, that's why we should begin discussions and see, look at all the aspects of it.
Maybe do as you say, put together a small group, they can talk to some of these people and then have them come to the committee of the whole. One individual coalesce all the ideas and suggestions. And, you know, give the rest of us something to think about.
I guess I'd like to see the list of the tasks this administrator would conduct. You know, we have Janice doing the budget, does a great job for us. What's this person gonna do? Answer the telephone?
That would actually do most, it would be most important. Becky would just,
A supervisor and not.
Or not necessarily, but you can still have a chairman of the
Right.
board of supervisors.
Right, you still have a chairman, but you wouldn't have all those duties that you're doing, that's what the administrator would do.
And it's hard to know what is involved until you're in that seat.
Correct.
Absolutely.
It's not so.
No, it's not. It is truly 24/7. It is.
A lot of moving parts.
I think the most important thing is you have to read everything. Because if you don't read it, you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
That takes more time. And then, like Jim said, answering the phone. Phone rings, you gotta take a call. Hey, now where was I? Somebody else comes.
The doors open and that people coming in.
Mr. Chairman, here, a few years ago, remember you said to me about, you spent the last few years kind of slightly searching for administration. You call that, you have a full, oh yeah.
I have,
Did you
it's
ever make any,
outdated now.
did you ever make any kind of contacts?
Yeah, but some of those people aren't even around anymore. I mean, 'cause that was,
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's just a question.
Yeah.
And we spoke about funding. Well, since Mr. DeFebo was here, that funding stayed intact.
No.
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 Positions, I think the position still exists, I'm not sure.
It does.
I don't know if it, like, we have to look at.
There was a description.
A local law, there's a local law.
Typically,
You know,
a position unfilled would sunset after a certain period of time, because this was created in the local law.
Right.
I don't know, I mean, that was 20 years ago. So,
Frankly, I don't think we know what we want yet, whether it's an administrator, or county manager, or something else that we dream of.
hybrid.
Yeah.
And you look at different counties, I mean, different counties, they do different responsibilities, you know, for even how they are.
You know, one of the things that comes to my mind is, you know, given the challenges that we're having with Munis and the implementation of Munis, we could really use someone to essentially kind of help us navigate through that process of implementation. I know that Dan Farberman, you mentioned that we have not yet even put the payroll system through that. And there's a lot of moving parts associated with Munis that a county administrator or a county manager, you would think that someone in that role could get their arms around and make sure that we're on track to get that system fully implemented, as well as if there are deficiencies, then going after the folks at Munis for additional support. But that's just one thing. But I think, you know, that could consume quite a bit of someone's time if they were to try and do that. I mean, each department is handling their own specific piece of it. But from a broader sense, if we're going to implement this financial system successfully, you really need someone there at the helm.
So part of this description would be proficient in this.
Well,
I think it would be one part of it.
Dan makes a strong point. I mean, here we, I don't wanna say bubble, but here we went through it, we've gone through it, we're still not all the way through it. And Janice has done a tremendous job with it, on top of her job. Dan Farmer's done a tremendous job on top of his job. Bill Sykes has done a whole bunch of extra on top of his job. I mean, and Cheryl and whoever else has been inputting stuff and working on it. Basically, it's a task that we've thrown on these few people's shoulders that, you know, they were busy before and now they're doing additional work to get through it. You know, a manager would have been a good spot to have a manager at that point that could sit back and Dana said, put her arms around it and spearhead it, think a lot better. I mean, the letter we wrote a few months ago to Munis to spur them to help us out better, Janice wrote that. You know, is that Janice's job description? No. That's something we could put on that's the only we could put on a county manager and said, hey, this is something.
Well, county manager should have been spearheading it right from the start.
Right.
So there's one voice. They're the ones that would deal with me.
Right.
Right in the beginning, because I think it was.
Stability.
We looked at that top shoulders, but then, you know, top they put a hole in it.
This has been going
There was
on
nobody else to step up because
3 years.
Bill was behind you also.
2 years since it was.
We started right at the beginning of 2020,
Yeah,
right before COVID, we started.
but I mean, before that, it was in 2019 that was.
Yeah, project manager for that job, like a person. Would have been, but in hindsight, that's what it is, we're just plugging on.
But you know, you need someone in that type of role who has fairly broad government experience and background, and including the financial systems, budgeting, administration, HR, payroll, and you know, you got to find someone who has that type of experience, I think, in order to get you through that whole process.
How old of a program is Munis overall? When was it developed? 5 years ago, 10 years ago?
It's hard to tell, Ryan, because there's different products and they line each other up. So we were kind of working with two products next to each other. One was developed by this company, one was developed by this company. We have to do some things in this product and some things in this product. And that's just the way, and you look across, we've been reaching out for the German card thing and trying to import. That was where we got stuck, was at import. Lewis County's having the same issue, and another one was just, I don't have it in front of me, but I just saw an email, they're having the same issue. They can't bring in that import. And it's like, okay, Genesee County doesn't even do it, they're like, we decided not even to do it, but they sell these things and it looks great because it works when they show it to you. And they can, so it's, I think a county manager or a county administrator, maybe not be in charge of the whole implementation, because they obviously wouldn't have every skill they need to do that, but to manage a project is what a manager does. You know, they can field the questions and they can combine and manage what's happening. I mean, that's piece we're missing. You know, we all got issues, but we're not talking to each other. And we're always emailing each other and we're looping everybody in, but you know, if I have an issue and I email Joe, well, he doesn't know what I'm really, you know, the financial part. He's like, well, I don't know. So he puts in a ticket, but then I don't see the ticket. It's just there should, you know, but like I said, it should have happened in the very beginning. Had we known, But it's,
When we were in ISAC, we talked to that one girl that from, I forget what college she was from. That said, oh, she put her hands up like,
it's a difficult transition, no matter what.
right, she
But-
said that.
But a lot of times when they implement it, and even the implementer, even the company says, they hire people to do a lot of the inputting and a lot of the, you know, all the stuff where we did it all, hundreds of things. We manually input hundreds of things to ensure that, which for me, I know it. So I know what I put in and how I put something in, but, so it's,
The point I was trying to get to is that nobody out there is really truly going to be proficient at anything, including in 1999, I started with an accounting program that is finally meeting up to some of my expectations as it changes slowly with their development over the years. And don't get me wrong, at the beginning, I was on the phone on their helpline, you know, consistently, continuously, I guess is the word that I wanted to say. So for this is the same thing, and the program probably isn't, and overall that older program and it's still developing with time. So that takes patience. Again, for the manager, whatever you want to call it, again, taking more of the jobs that are the day-to-day grind that the chairperson has been doing. I see that as what that person's task would be. The supervisor then is the supervisor of the town. The chairperson of this board then is more of a political public figure out there.
That's the way I see it, there's no time for that. I think we're never going to find a person who they have the background that, you know, they know munis, they know running a municipal hospital, they know all of these components. But if you find somebody who's sharp enough and has the mental capacity, and you can go back in their background and they say, I've done this. Okay, I've learned this process and I've experienced it and I've put it in place successfully. And I've done this other component. And that indicates, you know, to us that they can run certain things and they can come on board and they can pick something up reasonably well where they're, you know, when taking munis, and it's like, if somebody is a department head, whether it's the budget director or HR or board of supervisors, has issues, they can grasp them quickly and go out and advocate for the county with a vendor or a proprietor or whatever, and just, you know, get our point across and make sure that things are working and have the, I don't know, the oath behind them because they're the county administrator. And, you know, we got a cancer letterhead maybe than the budget director.
wow.
Nothing personal.
And a county manager would be somebody that would provide consistency through the years too, and different. I mean, sometimes someone's here for one term, which might be a 2-year term, sometimes it's a 4-year term, sometimes it's longer, you know, but that would provide consistency and that person would answer to all the supervisors. But with the legislative form of government, I mean, those are legislators that come, but they also have a county administrator there. It's an added layer.
Becky, one of the things that comes to mind, I know we've had some very lengthy recent discussions around our purchasing and procurement process, and particularly at the department levels. I think a county administrator or county manager will be someone you would say, okay, you are tasked with making sure that our policies are consistent, they're being applied correctly, and, you know, not have to rely on, you know, Janice or Cheryl or others to come up with a process. So, you know, that's just another aspect of it, that they could handle the day-to-day questions that come up from, you know, the Mike Adams Acts and others, to make sure that, you know, we're applying our purchasing and procurement processes consistently and within the law.
And all policies, Dan, I mean, to me, I would envision that coming in, and it would be good for them to know how our county has been working in the past, but to review all our policies and procedures and to see if they need to be updated. And I think that that's a good starting spot.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, even with our HR processes, it's always better to have a second set of eyes, you know, so Dan Farberman, if he has an issue with a particular employee, you know, there now you've got a county manager who's working through the day-to-day operations of the county and knows how to best handle it.
The whole procurement thing there that we have been going through the last month or so. One of my views on this is that it's within, as Dan, you just said, within the confines of the law. The problem is some of these laws are from Albany and they're archaic, they're old. I remember 6 years ago where I had a judge resign. We had 2 people up for the position of being appointed judge. And one of our 5 board members was literally on her deathbed. And as it was 2 of us for the one guy and 2 of us for the other guy, we went back and forth and each one nominated and ended it in a stalemate. And we said, well, can we have her make a phone call in to cast her vote of a deciding vote? Absolutely not. Dan, what are you doing today? Okay, if it wasn't for a push come to shove of the pandemic and COVID-19, none of this would have been by Zoom. And again, to me, this is an archaic way of looking at life and these procedures, and again, procurements of how we go about it. It doesn't actually save us money, it just makes it easier for us to track. And that's the way it's set up at the comptroller's office. So those are what make Janice's and Cheryl Mayor's jobs more difficult, is these old laws that aren't up to today's standards. I hate it when I know I have one of my board members that does not text. You know, the rest of us are out there boom, and throwing it out there to everybody else, and we have to step back and do a separate call that way. So again, that's something that's well out of our control, unfortunately. But then again, maybe a proper executive, our county attorney could look at it, and if we had in our resolution, it says we can do it this way. Home rule still takes precedence, so.
Well, there's another thing that we talked about for years, and that's comprehensive plan. You know, it hasn't been done in 20 years. I know we have Jim Bragg now, so a county manager, Jim, could start working on updating that comprehensive, which is needed. So there's definitely a lot of work that could be done.
Not on this, if we're done with this, just
I don't know.
we can, before I forget again. The county garbage pickup is changing. how are we getting that message out, or how is that message
Supposed to be
getting?
getting postcards.
That's what I thought.
And
I talked to Greg this morning, he said the postcards were supposed to be out, but they're not out yet.
Okay.
They are coming, because they're switching to totes.
Right, okay,
And the cards are supposed to be coming.
because I,
the cards were supposed to have been out last week, yeah, according to Jim. And because the date that you have to take, to decide whether you want the larger tote or the smaller tote is the 14th, which obviously that's not gonna fly. Because
that's Monday.
nobody in the county has got a postcard yet. So they're already,
Okay,
they're already well over a week behind.
okay,
I was gonna say, and if people are down in Florida or someplace.
Right.
Then the mail gets
Yeah,
forwarded to them.
you know,
It'll be March 14th.
and it's forwarded differently than it used to be.
One for each.
And I think, did every town get emails? Because I know my clerk has got. the
How did I know?
information put on our
When
website.
email's out there, my wife got email, I don't know where it came
Sheldon had one. We don't, but we don't have a website. Town of Eagle doesn't have a website, so, you know what I mean? And again, we're excluding a portion of the population, not necessarily, that don't use computers or whatever.
That was just, and I was just saying, it's
Yeah.
an additional
Yes,
venue that I was looking, that
Yep.
we're doing.
well, that's it. I mean, I know I got my board meeting tonight. I'm gonna be questioned about the garbage because we put it on our website last week
Yeah.
that everybody would be getting a postcard this week.
Yeah.
And
We did that.
There's no postcard. as far as we know, not even some.
right, okay, just so I have an update, because I know our town clerk has something in the office, just so that when people come through, I can give her the up-to-date information.
Just one of the questions that I've received from the village clerk in Wyoming was the need for a visual to show the difference between the 96-gallon tote and the 64-gallon tote. That's the biggest thing, is that they don't know which ones to recommend to people because they can't visualize the difference between the two size totes. And the 96-gallon is pretty large. It stands a good almost 5 feet tall. The other one is a bit smaller, maybe 4 feet, but that's the biggest difference, I think, particularly for elderly folks who have to move those totes. But if we could get something out there on a visual of what they actually look like, that would be helpful.
Dan, would it be according to how many bags each tote would hold?
Yeah, a 96 will hold 4 to 5 bags, and you could probably get 3 to 4 in a 64. But 96 is huge.
Yeah, it is. Yep. When is all this supposed to be switched over? You know?
Well, like Sandy says, the postcards were supposed to be out there, and they're late. And I haven't talked to James in the last week or so to ask him why the delay. But you need to get moving on this.
The ones at the fair, those are the big ones. Those are huge.
So an average house really.
A family probably needs a big one.
Okay.
I think
Anything else? Do you have a storage or not?
Recycling and everything.
No,
You get a recycling bin.
you have a recycling bin.
I'll make them.
Email everybody.
Smaller one, probably, you know. The big one. I can tell you. Supposed to be so that we can get the cost down, right? Is that what it was?
for them.
For them, that's how. Yeah.
automatic.
So that was how. But I thought that was part of it. Went to it. Was help. I love it.
CJ, it's like, you know, you.
I love it.
And then people ask.
I love it. It's so convenient. It's so convenient. And they're reliable. Yeah. No, they do a nice job. I mean, they're.
And you have to take it. You have to take it miles an hour. It's just- $5 a bag.
At home, I could say at home, you can do what, 5 bags and a large ice.
What I heard not here.
But they'll still pick it up.
See, now this-
Yeah,
That's what I heard.
so you can still get rid of it.
But I would-
Yeah, I mean,
We had it hands down.
it is, it is. Probably not much of a difference. And again, you don't. You're not gonna take it down. You know, my mother never would have been able to. I used to go down and take the garbage out anyway and put it at the end of the road, but she never would have been able to. Transfer station. It is. It's a lot of money. And I also see it as a way to help clean some of the messes up around. In the past, have more trash. I wish, are we off? We're gonna work. Yeah, I agree. And I guess what I don't know. And you know, they're supposed to take him in a garage. And I don't even mind paying. I do. But a lot of garages, you really don't want it.
It's like. I burned
There's a lot of people don't
That's why I was.
and that bothers me. For those types, yeah.
So we got Morel.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I would say so, yeah.
That's awesome.
That's probably what's gonna happen.
You know, I mean. Put me on some And I wouldn't know why. I wouldn't have an idea though.
So frustrating. But. Figure out what I'm doing with time.
When you retire?
My daughter has her baby.
And you're gonna become a babysitter?
She's already worried about it. I'm not doing that full time.
I was just going to say that, you know, I don't mind helping, but I don't want it all the
No,
time.
I do it full time. I don't want to be the.
You know,
I want to
when,
be the grand.
But you know what's nice about Grandparent?
Yeah.
That's what's nice about it.
when COVID hit, I got Mark's place and I was teaching them March, the end of the school year, and then I kept them all summer. Daycare wouldn't take them, and it's so expensive, so I said, send them to me, but I was glad in September when we were 5 days there, you can go. Somebody else is there. I got into teaching.
That's all. Really worried. You know, I get that. Depends on what you trust. You can just.
You just have to find the right place. Yeah. They're out.
My daughter was all worried about it when she had the young ones. What am I gonna do? Believe in your neighbor.
There'll be another mom or something. Yeah.
That's what I had.
Yeah.
My cousin. I everything.
She found the woman right across the street.
There you go.
Right across the street. So the kid gets on, her granddaughter gets on this side in the morning, gets off on that side in the afternoon. Same thing, goes over there for, you know, their hour and a half, wait till dad get home. Not even, I want to say it's an hour. Back. Better cooking. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that want. Yeah.
Oh, they need that.
They want to subsidize their income.
Yeah.
Opportunity for her, herself. Take care of a couple kids.
Yes.
It is.
And it's not hard work. They're already cool.
No, you're just, what you're doing is just taking your home and how do you do it? You have to be here in 15 minutes. You know, it's great, you know?
Yeah, that's good.
Oh, yes. You have to someone to interact with the kids. It's so important. Interacted, how did you interact? Go down to the playground, play with kids? All summer long. We figured it out. South Proud. A lot of kids go. That's why they shouldn't. There's this